I want to talk about your annotated bibliography that's due on Friday. And so I know it's weird because I'm actually showing you the essay assignment, but the sources that you use in your essay are the ones that you are collecting in your annotated bibliography. So I want to make sure that we start with the essay. And so basically this is a little bit of a fun assignment, a little bit of a research assignment. And so I kind of want to talk about that for a second. So you're going to write kind of a journal from the voice of one of the nonfiction pieces that we read this semester. Really the only piece that I'm not going to count as nonfiction would be the creation stories. Everything else seems like it'll be okay, so I'm okay with that. So you'll write a journal from their perspective, or you can also write from a secondary character's perspective. And honestly, I love that idea because number one problem that I see with this essay is that people tend to, if they are writing from that narrator's voice, they tend to give me the exact same thing they told me, especially if that person doesn't have a whole lot of other famous things that happen. So, for example, this one happens the most with Equiano. People do Equiano, but for some reason they just tell me the exact same thing that Equiano has already told me. And so that's not really what I want to see. Number one, that doesn't take much research. And number two, I mean, he's already done it and he's done it well, so you don't need to do that. I feel like that happens a little bit with John Smith too. But think about like how we could use alternatives. So like alternative to John Smith is you could write from Powhatan or Pocahontas's viewpoint. You could also write from any one of the settlers who was like working with John Smith. There's a whole list of that like manifest. So you could look at those people. You could also, like, I've had some really great ones for the Salem witch trial. I've had some written from the voice of Margaret Rule and Martha Carrier. I've had not as many with Equiano, maybe a good one from Equiano's sister. But if you think about this, you can go about it another way. You can say, oh, I'm going to write about Equiano. One great one I had was Equiano. It was from his voice, and he was deciding whether he was going to write his story as somebody from Africa or the Carolinas. And they never even told what it was. They were just kind of looking at like all the pros and cons. So that's kind of how that's going to work. So now, so basically, I do want you to write a piece of a creative writing piece, but I do want it backed up by research. And so when I say historical accuracy, I know it didn't happen, but it could have happened. So obviously, there's not like jet skis coming in on John Smith's island or whatever. It wasn't an island, but you know, just coming up to Virginia. And then how well you capture the voice of your character. You do not have to write in that weird vernacular that they use, that's like old, weird, hard to read English. Mechanics, I mean, that's just kind of, are you trying to write at least from their viewpoint? And so, then the research component, you are going to tell me why you made the choices that you did. And so, I'm going to have a whole nother paper about the essay in a minute, but, or actually in a couple weeks, but, I just want to kind of tell you about that. So basically, what you're going to want to do for your annotated bibliography is you are going to want to research that character and see if you can find a way that with the research and the reading, you can bring this character to life. And that's what you're going to do. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit, first of all, about how to do the research. So I'm going to go up here to Coastal's portal, and I'm going to go to the library resources. And so for me, for library resources, this one's kind of interesting. I usually don't go to a lit site for this paper. Usually what I'm going to use is I'm going to use NC Live. I know that sounds weird for a literature class, but for all these early nonfiction writers, it really makes sense that you would just use almost stuff that has the historical kind of context as well. So, if we are looking for, let's say Equiano. We're going to do Equiano. I always put it in quotation marks, even though he's only got one name, so if it was allowed at Equiano, I would put both names in one set of quotation marks. Okay, so what I would do if I were you, my thought is to go here. And now I'm looking at this and I'm seeing there are 184 results. So I think that's kind of interesting. I would look through those and see what works for you. You might find that some have nothing to do with what you want to talk about. You might find that some are just perfect. You might say, well, maybe I can do literary criticism only, and that'll take it down a little bit. That's probably where I would go, because literary criticism is of a nonfiction piece is going to probably look at kind of the same stuff you want to look at. So I would use those sources. Now, I'm going to look at this one, and I want to see, because I haven't practiced this part, so we'll see. So to me, we do have a nice full text here, so that's great. What I would do then is, I'm going to move me, I would, if I decide I'm going to use this source, I would do the citation machine, and this starts in APA. You want MLA, you're going to lose points if you do APA. MLA, and then what I usually do is I just copy it, Control C that thing, and then I'm going to move it to a Word document. And so I'm actually doing a document right now to show you what this will look like. And so what I would do is I go hit enter. When I do my pasting, I look at how things, I want to keep or merge the formatting. I think that'll be the easiest, because that way it doesn't get rid, excuse me, I'll just put that up there. It doesn't get rid of italics. It's still not completely correct, but really the only thing that you have to worry about now is indenting. And so what we'll do is we'll go here. It's already on 0, so I know all I'm going to have to do is hit tab, enter tab, excuse me. It's so weird, that enter tab thing, right? And so then you've got your citation. So that's really super easy. So so that's kind of how you do the research. So I would say NC Live is the one you want to go to. So what I've gone ahead and done for you as well is I have created what the first entry of an annotated bibliography will look like. I have, obviously, my name, the class. Oh my gosh, that's backwards. So it should say, oh my goodness, Instructor Bethany Hammer, Ing, 231. So it should have that, and that's how it should be. And then notice double space all the way down, just one double space. So you have all of that, and then right under it, you start your annotated bibliography. And it'll be in alphabetical order by the first word of the entry. So the first word of this entry is Ravelli. The first word of the next one is Reagan. So I'm pretty happy it's already in alphabetical order. So I've got my citation, and here is what we're going to look at now, the annotation. So basically what I want you to do is I want you to summarize, and I want you to summarize in a little bit of detail, so you kind of will tell me, I thought this was a really nice summary, you'll tell me kind of what the article says, and don't just be really vague about it, be pretty specific. Then I want you to tell me whether this is a credible source or not. So we have summary to here, then credibility to here. Then the third thing that I want to see is how you're going to use it in your paper. Now, I just took this from a student example. I would say I think they could do a little bit better with how they're going to use it. I will use this article to help describe and analyze the spiritual aspect of witchcraft, to which I might reply, okay, be more specific about what you mean by spiritual aspect of alleged witchcraft. And I would say maybe you want to give me one more sentence. But for the most part, this is a pretty nice annotation. And so when I'm looking at this page-wise, almost all of these I would think is maybe half a page, even maybe a little more. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking at there. So, I really think that's about it, unless you have any questions. I'll be around. I would love to meet with you. I'm meeting with somebody tomorrow, so let's do this, and let me know how I can help. Y'all have a great day.